This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
Aaron Lackey, pastor of Temple of Prayer Family Worship Cathedral, Fairburn, Georgia. Every week I listen to Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Pastor Shanan E. Jones. Yes, that's Straight Talk. Why don't you join us?
Well, welcome tonight to an edition of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones. Shanan, it ain't nothing but straight talk. And tonight we're going to have some serious straight talk. We're going to talk tonight about this. Oh, man. What does he want? He wants immunity. He wants immunity. Donald Trump wants immunity. And we're going to be talking about that. The Superior Court is going to, Supreme Court is going to be looking at April the 25th. And Clarence Thomas is going to be on that jury to listen whether or not he has immunity or not. And we're going to be listening to Senator Whitehouse, who's going to be talking to Mr. O'Donnell, Lawrence O'Donnell, about, about Clarence Thomas' wife. There's a conflict of interest here. They talk about a conflict of interest with Fanny Willis and her, Nathan Wade. And here we have Clarence Thomas in the bedroom with his wife, who was a part of the planning of the insurrection, a part of the insurrection. Man, come on. But anyway, Shannon, we're going to talk about it on the other side. I see you bob your head like you listen to some jazz. You know what I'm saying? Are you robbing tonight?
I'm listening to some jazz, all right.
Are you going to be robbing tonight or what?
I'm going to be robbing tonight.
Hey, to our listening friends, don't forget to like us, subscribe to us, make comments, and do send us, if you want to be on the program, we'd love to have you. Go to Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. We're going to see you on the other side after Mrs. C with Straight Talk News and information.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or less. Anyway, Central Holiness Church of Deliverance at 1049 Washington Street in Atlanta invites you to help them celebrate their 55th church anniversary going on during the entire month of March at 3 p.m. Mother Richmond, a good friend of mine from the radio station, thank you so much for sending this to us. It's Family and Friends Month at Bethany Baptist Church, 1109 McDaniel Street in Southwest Atlanta. Sunday school begins at 9 a.m. and morning worship at 10 a.m. Dr. Craig White Sr. is pastor. Deliverance of Faith House of Miracles celebrates the 30th Pastoral Appreciation honoring Apostle Bessie Arnold. Apostle Arnold is a good friend of mine from back in the WYZE days. Congratulations, Apostle Arnold. And they're going to be celebrating her 30th Pastoral Appreciation during the entire month of March also. And her, another one of my coworkers from WYZE, Bishop Ray Neal, is going to be guest speaker on March 10th at 3 p.m. Other worship times include March 10th at 10:30 a.m., March 17th and 24th at 3 p.m., March 22nd at 7 p.m., and there's going to be a pastoral appreciation and birthday dinner honoring Apostle Arnold on March 9th at 5 p.m. The church is located at 52 Fairburn Road in Southwest Atlanta. Now listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do for me. And I got my little sheet here so I can't mess up Greg. Listen, I want you to like us and I want you to subscribe to us. And if you look on your screen, on your iPad, your phone, your computer, you'll see some little buttons there that says like and subscribe. Push those buttons for me, okay? And I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. And also share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. We want everybody to know about Straight Talk News, okay? And if you'd like for us to announce your event, send it to us. Email it to us at straighttalknews1362 at gmail.com. And be sure to spell that all out. Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. And listen, I have been under the weather, and I want to thank you all for your prayers, and I want to ask for your continued prayers as I recuperate. And I did find out one thing. It's not my heart, so we're going to go from there. Okay? I want you to stay well and trust God. Bye now.
Senator Whitehouse, you are invited to talk me down from my outrage over the recusal issue.
Can't do it.
Okay.
If the Supreme Court were to decide that President Trump has presidential immunity, then Jack Smith's case would come to an end. And Jack Smith's case could very well, in producing evidence about the insurrection, produce evidence about Justice Thomas's wife with the defendants, Trump's chief of staff. So there's a very direct conflict of interest. If he can help get rid of the case, he can protect his wife from the scrutiny of having her actions be evidence for the prosecution. So that's pretty blunt. I would say that there's an even worse outrage behind that, which is that even now we do not know what the facts are here. There is no other officer in the entire United States government who, when an ethics question is raised, doesn't have the facts about what took place found by some independent entity. It is only these 9 justices who reserve for themselves the right to say, here's what I say the facts are, and nobody else gets another view. And Justice Thomas has simply refused to disclose what he knew and when he knew it about his wife's insurrection activities, and that has tainted a number of Supreme Court cases already. So it's a double trouble problem, an immediate conflict in this case, and a signal of this larger problem of the court not playing by the rules of rule of law.
So what I just read is a law. It's not some rule that someone created.
No, it's not some court rule. It's not some judicial principle. It's the law of the land of the United States of America.
And how is that law enforced?
Well, by courts. And of course, at this point, you've got a court that doesn't want to have that law enforced on itself. And the very basic sort of opening bid of any law enforcement effort, of any contest of law, is that you find out what the facts are. Fact-finding is elemental to a decision to go forward on an ethics matter, on a recusal matter, in a civil case, in a criminal case. It's across the board. So it's extremely peculiar that this Supreme Court will not allow fact-finding as to its own ethics problems.
So we know that in the last hour, Virginia Thomas was watching her hero on Fox talk about this very case that her husband is considering, maybe with her husband sitting beside her. Let's listen to what Clarence Thomas's wife was listening to and Donald Trump arguing his own case on Fox in the last hour.
They have to do the immunity thing, because if you don't, a president will not be able to be a president. If you're going to make a big decision as president and you're afraid that as soon as you get out, you're going to be indicted by the opposition party, by the Democrats, by the radical left lunatics who will indict you and try and put you in prison because you're trying to do something good for the country, even if it's severe, the severe may be a great thing for the country. They have to have presidential immunity. If you don't have immunity for a president, and I'm not talking about only me, if you don't have immunity for a president, you will not be able to function properly.
And so, I don't know, does Mrs. Thomas turn to her favorite Supreme Court justice and say, what do you think after that?
Well, she has a term that she refers to her husband with. I think my best friend is the way they often describe each other. And she actually talks about talking with her best friend in the communications that went back and forth between her and the defendant, Trump's chief of staff. So you could actually even go beyond just having Ginny Thomas figure in the evidence in the case, presuming that Clarence Thomas is the best friend that she mentions, he could actually appear in the case. So, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And just by the way, the president's commentary is complete nonsense. We've had, a lot of United States presidents. They have never been charged criminally. The one who came closest was President Nixon. He did not concede that the criminal law did not apply to him. He conceded that it did apply to him. Throughout the entire history of the United States of America, there's never been a problem of a president not being able to do something lawful that he should be doing for the people of the United States because of fear of criminal prosecution. This is an imaginary figment of Donald Trump's.
Well, Shannon, I tell you, that was Miss C is always on top of with news and information. And again, if you have news and information that you want to share, just send it to Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. All right? And let me see, say don't forget to like us, subscribe to our channel, and make comments and share. Won't you do that? Now, tonight, I said earlier, is that we will have Senator Whitehouse. Boy, what a name. He was in the White House, and his name is Whitehouse. Senator Whitehouse, who is talking about this whole thing about immunity for Donald Trump that's going before the Supreme Court. And how Mr. Thomas, or Judge Thomas, his wife, was a part of the planning and all that other stuff. She was there on January 6th with Mr. Trump when he was there. Now her husband is going to be deciding whether or not he has immunity. This is crazy, man. On one hand, and I said this earlier, they talk about conflict against Fanny and her boyfriend or friend or whatever you want to call him. It was a conflict which has nothing really, that person's life has nothing really to do with the case, in my opinion, because this case is about whether or not Donald Trump tried to overturn the votes in Georgia, just like he did the insurrection or caused an insurrection in Washington on January 6th. That's what that was all about. So, Shannon, I know you've heard what they said. You heard what Mr. O'Donnell said. You always have something that you had to say that. Spout out a little wisdom tonight.
Well, Sheldon Whitehouse, the Senator Whitehouse, is right on, spot on, with his critique and with other Democrats' critique of Justice Thomas. This is one that I believe, would have to recuse himself of. It's been a rough road for him because the Justice Thomas that we have come to know. There's a great PBS study, a PBS show, Frontline, on Clarence and Jenny Thomas. I would encourage everyone to sit for about an hour and watch that Frontline PBS special, Clarence and Jenny Thomas, and it gives a breakdown of their road to who they became and how they became one with one another. But it's interesting that Justice Thomas, the Justice Thomas that we thought we knew, we found out recently that he had some rich benefactors that were sending him on some high-priced trips, and that he didn't always drive around in the RV that we saw him on and parking on Walmart lots that he said that he was doing with FBI security, or Justice Department security. But we saw that he also been flying on some private flights and going to some places. And I guess that's all right if somebody wants to send a flight for you to be able to go somewhere on vacation. But when you're a United States Supreme Court Justice, Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, it might not be all right, or it's not all right, or as they say, it ain't all right.
Well, let me say that. Well, what about the appearance of you taking this favor or taking these things from these individuals for favors before the courts, or maybe not for that individual, but for that individual friend or that individual associate, right?
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look. And and so he would have to recuse himself in some of that. Now, to be true, um, Justice Thomas generally doesn't really opine much anyway. He sits there very quietly and listens, but he does render a decision. And on this case here, this strikes really close to home because his wife Jenny is a loose cannon, and she is connected not only to MAGA but to this, regardless of what what folks are saying about whether it's insurrection or not insurrection. What we talked about last week in terms of this Civil War ideology coming to an head on January the 6th. Jenny Thomas was in that. She was in conversation with Mark Meadows, Mr. Meadows, the Trump chief of staff, and so it would be very interesting that he would be that he'd be opining on the case, but
here it is. And see, look,
here
look,
it
look,
is.
look,
So far,
look,
I got to remember that everybody's not watching. That we're on radio too, so I'm doing hand gestures here.
right, right,
But I radio
right. Yeah,
so I mean,
yeah.
who thumped it, right? But
Yeah.
now he did not recuse himself on the unanimous decision that Trump just received on the case of on the Colorado case and being thrown off of ballots. He voted on that case, and the question would be how close was when it comes to Trump, how invested was his wife in everything that is the messaging and strategy around what Trump is doing? And would he just have to really recuse himself on anything that has to do with Donald Trump at all? So it's quite interesting, but go ahead.
I think Representative Whitehouse said it best.
Senator Whitehouse.
Just Senator Whitehouse said it best. He said it best when he said this. This is what he said. He said that they are the only body that does not have someone to look at the facts of whether or not what they're doing is a conflict or it's unethical. They rule and judge themselves, and that should change because clearly, Clarence Thomas said that's what he said. This is what it is, and this is what it is, and nobody questions it, right? Nobody questions it because he's an associate Supreme Court judge, right? Okay, so it's like he can do whatever he wants to do and still rule over people in terms of judge over people whether or not they violate the Constitution, or was the Constitution misinterpreted, or this is the real intent of the Constitution. And so that's what position they sit in as they look at certain things. They're judging based on what the Constitution said. Now, here we go. Let's go down the road. Let's go down the road now with this insurrection, right? Let's talk about this, John. This the insurrection. Let's take Clarence Thomas out of the equation. We talked some weeks ago about Trump putting in certain judges on the appellate court level and the Supreme Court level because he said early on when he was running, he said, I'm going to change that Ninth Circuit of the appeal court because I can never get any fair decisions away from that court, out of that court. And he went about doing it, and he changed the makeup with the help of, we talked about it last week, with not the speaker, but you know what I'm talking about. He just says he stepped down, right? I won't say Temple Neal been gone, but you know what I'm talking about. The senator. Yeah.
McCarthy.
McCarthy. And not McCarthy, not Speaker McCarthy, the senator just the one that's been there the longest, and And
Oh,
his name
McConnell,
said
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell, right? And his name escaped me, Mitch
Hmm.
McConnell. Okay, so Mitch
Hmm.
McConnell helped him to hold up on appointments for those Supreme Court judges, their petty court judges. So former President Obama could not appoint people, right? So here we
Hmm.
go. Now we have people that there now. He has 6 on appointees on the court, right? 6, not 6 appointees, but six. Well, I would say how many MAGAs did he appoint? Three MAGAs that he appointed.
Trump put 3 on the bench.
Right, 3 on the bench. 3 MAGAs on the bench. All right, so he's got 3. There were 3 already Republicans on there, but now you got 3 MAGAs. Then you got the 3 the liberals on the bench, right? Okay. And
Well,
we've seen.
I think you had 2, so you got 5, and then you have 4. Is it 4? Right? You have 4. 4 left-leaning. Um, 4 left-leaning justices.
Which 4 left-leaning justices are you talking about? What 4?
So you got Ketanji. So basically,
that's just 3 to 3 women. What's the 4th one there?
you know what? You're right.
Yeah, it's just 3. It's
You're
3.
right.
It's just
Hmm.
3. So I'm just saying is that where we are today is that those are people that he has. I'm gonna say it like this, in his pocket. And we see what's happening with Cannon. You know what's going down now. Even though they said, well, we're going to hear the case on the 25th of April. Well, they can drag that case out as long as they want to drag it out, and say we're going to hear it and what have you. Like Rachel said last week, she said, hey, listen, if Trump, they rule that Trump doesn't have immunity after he is elected president, if he should win this time, and certainly God knows we do not need a dictator, but if he should win, then he would have to stay in office for the rest of his life to not be put in jail for creating a crime. And I believe that it was said by the senator tonight that that there's no president, that all that poppycock that he was talking about, there's no president have broke the law other than Nixon, and Nixon went on and moved on. But Trump want to be able to do whatever he wants to do, and he said that even if it means doing something drastic, he wants to be able to do it. And he said he'll shoot somebody in the street, shoot somebody in the street, and they won't do nothing to him. He's already told you what his mannerism is and what he would do. He's shown us what he would do. Now he is saying to the court, who said you got to pay the $450 million, he said, I give y'all $100 million, but I ain't gonna give y'all no $450 million. I mean, it's like he is so hell bent on still just being and doing what he wants to do, and he's being supported by, you said, that MAGA machine on that bench and on the bench, and it's really disheartening to this country to see what's going on, as you said, the MAGA party against the United States.
Yeah, it's an ideological civil war that MAGA represents, and so people mistakenly, in fact, President Biden called it MAGA Republicans. They're not MAGA Republicans, and they're MAGA, and so I would say that they caucus Republican, and I would say that Republicans have come out of it, but we've got some MAGA Democrats.
Oh, we do.
That are now moving from the Democratic Party, saying, you know what, I can't go with Biden. For whatever reason, that a list of reasons that they give, and so they're moving over. Well, we made money under Trump, and they have all of these reasons. Many of them are misguided, but you've got some MAGA Democrats and some MAGA independents, and so it's MAGA is really a movement, but I want to just remind everyone. First of all, I want to jump back to Senator Whitehouse real quick,
Sure.
and say that I don't agree with him in terms of an oversight of the U.S. Supreme Court. The reason why first of all, we can't begin to change the tenets of our democracy when someone like leader of a MAGA group begins to move in a way that we feel is not in the best interest of the country. And so we start to play with the goalposts and move it. It's a reason why Mitch McConnell fought and did not let Merrick Garner get on the United States Supreme Court, denying Obama the opportunity to have him sit before a Senate hearing. It's a reason why we take United States Supreme Court candidates through the grueling process that they go through, because they don't serve by term. They serve for life. And the judiciary is the highest court in the land. I mean, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land of all the judiciary. And we have co-equal branches of government: the executive, the Congress, and the United States Supreme Court. I mistakenly said last week the court did statutory law, which is legislative law. That's wrong. It's common law. And the country, what Trump is trying to do is rule the country through common law, through court-based law. So I don't think that the highest court should have an oversight or an appellate to it. I think that we need to make sure that who we put on the court, we have vetted them to in such a way that we allow them to be on the court. And I'm no fan of the U.S. Supreme Court. As we know, the Supreme Court has not been our friend in terms of our story. But then in some cases it has helped us in terms of the African American sojourn here. I just want to leave that there, that I disagree with that part of what Sheldon said. And then I want to say this about Mr. Trump. Trump is not an Ivy League. He went undergrad to Wharton School of Business, undergrad, University of Pennsylvania, that's Ivy League. But he's not one of these Ivy League guys that worked in corporate, that worked for a major law firm, a major financing house, company man that became a career politician. He's not even like a Clinton that was, straight Ivy League, undergrad, Ivy League law school, and then ran for office as governor of Arkansas. Trump is an entrepreneurial president, which means that as an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs are people who work. And let me say this quickly, because we might be losing time here. But entrepreneurs are people that work 80 hours a week to keep from getting a 40-hour week job. And in so doing, they want to be able to control things and have things done their way. And that's the type of president he is, because that's the way he's run his business life. It's his way or the highway. And that's what you get when you deal with a Donald Trump. So he's not going to be a traditional nothing. He's going to be entrepreneurial first and foremost, and he's going to always try to get his way.
Well, let me just end up there, because we got 1 minute. The one thing I want to say is that's why the Apprentice program shows us how Donald Trump really is. You're fired, you're fired, you're fired. But in my last statement, I want to say is that I don't want people to forget when they talk about the economy, how bad the economy is, and this, that, and other. Remember, we were shut down for 2 years. And we were shut down during that 2-year period by Donald Trump, who could have done something about the COVID virus, which they were calling the corona then. He's the same one said drink Clorox and kill yourself. He's the same one that did not move to ensure that the American people did not get the COVID virus, one. And two, after it took place, he was not supportive, really, in trying to get rid of it and getting this economy back on track. I want to put that out there because I think people soon forget who he was and what he did. But on that note, Shannon, we're going to get ready to get out of here, man. We got to go. And this ain't been nothing but Straight Talk with your truly great friend, Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to make comments. Don't forget to share. And if you have opinions you want to share with us, we'd love to have them. You can write us at Straight Talk News at 1362@gmail.com. Until next week, this ain't been nothing but Straight Talk.
Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.